Hey there, crafty friends. It's Tina from the Scrappin Rabbit blog. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel. In today's video, we're going to create some adorable Cockatoo cards featuring the Scrappy Tales Craft Cockatoo die. This tropical collection has been one of my most favorites, and this die is just too cute for words. There are nice layered pieces so that you can create a realistic looking bird, and I'm also going to be using the A2 triangle pattern cover plate die for the backgrounds. I went ahead and cut out all of the pieces off camera to save time, and you can see there is that base layer and then all the different layers. I'm going to use the Barely Arts glue to put everything together. Using my tweezers, that is going to help me put all of these little die cuts together. I'm starting off in the order of the layers to do the branch first. I did cut out the tail feathers in a different colored cardstock so that it would be easier to see on camera. So the bottom tail I put down first, and then that layer on top goes right above that. Then I went ahead and I grabbed the little claws and I put them over the branch. So kind of going from the bottom up and putting this bird together. So I love using the tweezers. It really helps me to get the pieces on there secure, and the cutouts on that background die really help you line everything up so well. So next up is the wings, and I cut the tails and the wings the same color cardstock, as well as you'll see the top of the face. So those go on so easily. And then now I'm going to go for the little beak and put that on first. The cockatoos that I've seen in photos have a darker beak for the most part that match their feet. And then here is the face, the top of the face there. So for the crest and also for the forehead, I cut out the white cardstock and I just ink blended a little bit of yellow distress ink on there, because these birds do have kind of a yellowish tint sometimes to their feathers. I've seen some with like a beige tint, the yellow, sometimes more orange, and sometimes pink. And then that fits right up on the top. Now for the small pieces, the eyes and the cheeks, what I did was I cut them out. I'm going to use the three largest pieces. So the big circle there is going to be the bottom of the cheek, and then the second largest is going to be the layer for the cheek. I'm using my Copic markers and I'm just coloring those in, coordinating with the yellow that I used on the crest. I'm going to get a darker little circle there to layer on top of the lighter one, and then put that on the little spot there that's going to form the cheek. So now that second largest circle, I'm going to also use that for the eye. I did not end up using the smallest circle. The third size circle is what I colored out, I cut out in black cardstock for the eye. And so I'm going to use my little tool there to help me pick that up, because it is a small little piece, and the tool really helps you to line it up where you need it to go, and you can move it around so that it dries just right. And that completes the adorable little cockatoo layering. Now to embellish a little bit, I wanted to add some shadows with my Copic markers. So I'm getting my warm grays out, and I'm going over the lines in that base die to kind of give a little bit of depth for the feathers. This is something that you can do if you want. You don't even need to, because it's already cut into there. I'm going to use my E70 to just blend out under the tail and a little bit on the wings, just this darker, that tan colored cardstock that I used, just to add a little bit of shadows. And then I'm also going to blend that out as well to soften it up a little bit. I think because I'm used to stamping and coloring, I like to add these extra added details to my die cuts to bring them to life. I'm going to go ahead and also use some browns to color in the little perch. Now this is something that you can do before you glue it together. I just kind of did it as I went along. And I really love how this little cockatoo turned out. So super, super cute. And just finishing up that perch. And there you have it. There is that little guy right there. I went ahead and created a few more in different colors so that you can get an idea of the different ways that you can put these cockatoos together. For the A2 cover plate die, I went ahead and cut it out with some white cardstock, and I also grabbed the tropical leaf assortment die from the same release and cut out a bunch of leaves. The tropical leaves come with layers, and so I'm just using my Barely Art glue to put those together, and I have a little post-it there just to dab off any excess glue so that it doesn't push through to the sides, especially when you have skinny pieces like these. So once I had all of my leaves glued together, it was time to arrange it all on a card. So I find that when I'm crafting, I have a really hard time making up my mind. And so what I've been doing is, instead of choosing what colors I'm going to use, why not just do them all? So for this first card, I wanted to do a white on white, but then I went back and forth. Well, no, I like to blend with colors. So I just decided to do both. So easy peasy, I just put that A2 cover plate on a top folding A2 size card base, and I'm just going to use my glue to glue down an assortment of these leaves. I love those fronds, and I must say that I did use my precision cutting plate for those fronds and the ones with the spiky leaves, and as well as the cover plate. When you have dies that have lots of little intricate cuts, it is really a good idea to use either a shim or the precision plate. So I'm just gluing down the leaves one by one and forming some different layers and using a variation and getting an idea where I'm going to lay my bird. And then for a finishing touch there, I'm adding those turquoise cardstock leaves. And I'm going to get those glued down. And once I have them glued down, I'm going to pop up my Cockatoo on some double-sided adhesive foam tape. I like to give good coverage, that way none of the die cuts get flattened in the mail, so I do go through the extra time to cut out all the little bits of foam tape to get really good coverage. Once I get those backing papers off, I can go ahead and adhere it to the front of my card. So now all we need is a sentiment. So I'm going to grab my stamp tool and some black cardstock. I will prep it with some of my anti-static powder tool. And this stamp set is called the Tropical Bird Stamps, and it is a 6x8 set with some beautiful images that coordinate so well with this die. I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment, and I'm going to use some gold embossing powder. This is from Ink on 3, and it's called Gold Rush, and this is one of my favorite embossing powders. Shake that off back into the jar, heat up my heat tool nice and hot, and get that melted down, and it just looks beautiful. One of the things I like about the bird stamps is that it does come with the coordinating dies for the sentiments as well, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that out through my die cutting machine, pop it up with some double-sided adhesive foam, and get that onto the front of my card. So I like to add a little sparkle, so I'm going to grab some gold sequins to help that sentiment pop, and I just decided to use 3. I'm going to use my little tool there and get those sequins glued down, and that completes my first card. So super cute. I'm really happy with how that turned out. But I did want to add some color, so I went on to make a second card, and I'm going to use my Distress Oxide inks. So I'm going from the reddish pink there to the lighter pink to the orange to the yellow, kind of like the beginnings of a rainbow there. And I just love the way that these bright colors make a tropical scene pop. So blending with my soft brushes onto some Bristol Smooth cardstock, I'm just going over and blending through and trying to get rid of any of the harsh lines. But I am going to cover this layer with my cover plate dies, so I'm not too concerned with having a perfectly smooth blend. Once I had this done, I went ahead and did it a second time. And as you can see, one I'm using as a backdrop, and the other one I went and ran through my die cutting machine. So this one here is going to get the white triangle pattern cover plate die over the top, and I'm using some liquid glue to adhere it. And the other one is going to be that top piece just on its own. I couldn't make up my mind, so again, I just decided to do both. I'm adhering them onto the top folding A2 size card bases and smoothing them down with my bone folder. And I love how the liquid glue gets all into those little pieces, and you just add little dots and it adheres it down just beautifully. So again, these two backgrounds turned out so cute, and they were perfect for two of the other birds that I created. So using the same design, I adhered the leaves and I added a sentiment as well as the sequins, and that is the second card, and here is the third. So I wonder which one is your favorite. I kind of like the one on the far right, but then the one in the middle, and then of course the clean and simple first one. It's so hard to make up my mind. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope you like this video. I hope you'll check out the shop. All of the products are linked in the description box below. Thanks so much again for stopping by, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Till next time, happy crafting. Bye for now.